Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 19, Text 35. Yogajendram jashagrastam dhyayantam charanambujam roshantinam karenanunam krichrato mochayadhrutam. Translation by His Divine Grace of Esharana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead delivered the king of the elephants, who was attacked by an alligator and who meditated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, the female elephants who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The example of the elephant in danger who was saved by the Supreme Lord is especially cited here because even if one is an animal, he can approach the personality of Godhead in devotional service, whereas even a demigod cannot approach a Supreme Person unless he is a devotee. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 3, Chapter 19, Text 35 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, sometimes when we read this translation, we suddenly get confused because until last week we were discussing about the Varaha's pastime, Lord Varaha's pastime, and suddenly there is a crocodile coming here, and suddenly there is a elephant here and female elephants. What is happening? So, you need to understand Bhagavatam is a narration, inside a narration, inside a narration. That's how it goes. Whenever a discussion is happening between two personalities, that is a narration, there is a conversation coming as part of a narration which is already being made elsewhere. So history is being spoken about, not mythology. History is being spoken about. So until the 33rd shloka, we see discussion is happening between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. So from then on, we see from the 33rd shloka, we see a transition is slowly happening there. Until 32nd shloka, it is Maitreya Muni and Vidura speaking. So in the 33rd shloka, we see Suta Goswami, Suta Uvacha. So here Suta Goswami is referring to Shaunaka Rishi. There were sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi. That's how the Bhagavatam initially starts. The questions are being asked by the sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi to Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami had heard this conversation when the discussion was happening between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami. So the original discussion happened between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Suta Goswami was part of that conversation because Shukadeva Goswami is asked, Parikshit Maharaj is asking what should a person do when he is going to die. And he does not get relevant answers. Shukadeva Goswami reaches there and he starts narrating. So the whole Bhagavatam basically is a narration of what a human should do in his lifetime. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking as the authority that he has only 7 days left. So that's the right question to be asked. Now we don't have guarantee of 7 seconds also. He has at least 7 days that he's going to live. So from there, this conversation Suta Goswami has heard. So the Shaunakadi Rishis, they've all assembled at Naimisharanya, Uttar Pradesh. So there they are asking Suta Goswami, you have heard all of this. Now we have these questions, can you please help us? So this narration starts once again by Shaunakadi Rishi are questioning Suta Goswami. And as part of that conversation, various conversations have come. One conversation was that of Maitreya Muni and Vidura, during which discussion the Varaha avatar of the Lord was discussed. Now once again that discussion is done, Maitreya Muni and Vidura, for now it is done. Again it will continue a little later. So from there again the focus has come back to this Suta Goswami and the Shaunakadi Rishis. So now Suta Goswami and Sonakadi Rishi are basically in discussion, and Suta Goswami is explaining the glories of the Lord. Yes. So that's where the 32nd, 33rd and 34th slokas come into picture, where the not just the glories of the Lord, in 34 slokas you have seen, even devotees, spotless devotees, even their conversations are very, very helpful. So now in this today's shloka, Suta Goswami is describing the glory of the Lord. That Lord who had protected Gajendra, the king of elephants, from the clutches of the crocodile. So we'll just take a glimpse of what that aspect was, and then we'll come back to it once again. So the discussion is still, it is just a winding up of the discussion of the Varaha avatar. The Gajendra pastime does not start here, that comes in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? Now, in two different instances, two different things are happening. There was a king, a Gandharva king by the name Hu. His name is Hu. So who is this Gandharva king? Hu. So this Gandharva king, as we all know, generally, when there is a lot of bank balance, when everything is smooth in life, what do you do then? Generally, we don't chant that time. Generally, we go for parties, we go to pubs, we go to the swimming pool, and all these things. We have seen this in the case of the sons of Kubera as well, Nalakovar and Manigriva. We every day sing this pastime in the Damodarashtakam, right? So they were also in the water playing. Similarly, Hu also is enjoying with the women in the lake. So during that instant, like how when young men, they go to the water, they go to the beach, they all pull each other's legs and all those things. So this Hu was playing with his friends, women friends, and then in a joking manner, nearby there was Devala Rishi. He was performing his tapasya or his Sandhya Vandana maybe. So he ends up pulling Devala Rishi's feet instead of the women's feet. It's all will of the providence that things had to transpire this way. So when that happened, Devala Rishi, as usual, because he's in the middle of his sadhana, he gets disturbed. So he curses, because you are so interested in being in the water and pulling my leg, you become a crocodile. So whoever comes into the water, you keep pulling their legs. So that's the curse given to Hu. Now Hu gets very disturbed, because he has to go to the material world and he has to be in a lake as a crocodile now, alligator. So he regrets and he requests for forgiveness. So then Devala Rishi takes compassion upon him and he says, don't worry, the Lord will come and he will liberate you. This is one instant where Hu is cursed to be a crocodile. At another place, there was a king by the name Indradyumna. He is from a Tamila country, the Dravidian, South Indian king, much earlier, from the Pandya kingdom. It is not referring to the Pandya kingdom that we see of Cholas and the Pandyas, not that one. It's much earlier than that. So this Pandya king, he was a wonderful king, and after that he retires from his kingship and then he starts doing austerities. So he goes to the Malayachala hills and he is worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in silence. So basically he was meditating on the Lord. As he was meditating there, Agastya Rishi reaches there with his disciples. So the Agastya Rishi, they were trying to strike a conversation, or whenever a personality comes, whenever a senior personality in terms of spirituality is coming, it is the duty of other individuals to receive them appropriately. But here, because King Indradyumna was meditating, he did not know that Agastya Rishi had come, so he was not in a position to receive Agastya Rishi. So Agastya Rishi, in turn, curses King Indradyumna, because you are very dull. You don't realize who has come at all. You continue to become a dull elephant. Because generally we see elephant is generally it's huge. Its movements are little slow, seemingly dull. So you become a dull elephant. This was the curse given to Indradyumna. So Gandharva king Hu has become a crocodile, and King Indradyumna has become an elephant by the name Gajapati or Gajendra. Now where they are coming is a mountain named as Trikuta. Three means three. There are three big hills made of gold, made of silver, and made of iron. And the length, breadth, and height of this Trikuta is 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles. What could be the height of Mount Everest? Basically, it is around 8.99 kilometers. It's basically close to 5.5 miles. The tallest mountain that we know of, which people climb, some of them even lose their life climbing this, is just 5.5 to 6.5 miles. What we are talking about Trikuta is 80,000 miles. So in the Trikuta mountain, there is a garden called as Rutumat. This Rutumat belongs to Varuna Deva. In this garden, there is a very large lake. And in that lake is this crocodile, which is King Huhu, Gandharva Huhu. And in that Trikuta mountain, Gajapati has come. King Indradyumna has now come as Gajapati. So, once again, this Gajapati is a huge elephant. Even all the animals in that mountain Trikuta were scared of this elephant. Huge. And he had a big family, a lot of wives and a big family. So, he is the undisputable king of this jungle. So when he is walking, the whole mountain shakes and everybody runs, all these animals and all run. So when he is walking once, not caring for what is there around and all those things, he smells the dust of the lotus flower. And lotus flower grows in ponds and lakes. So smelling this lotus flower, the dust of the lotus flower, all the elephants become very thirsty. So they walk towards this lake inside the garden called as Rutumat, and this Gajapati or Gajendra enters the lake, starts drinking the water until he is content. His family also drinks the water. After this thirst is satiated, he starts playing with his kids and the wives. He removes the water from the lake and starts spraying on all the wives and the kids. This disturbs the crocodile. The crocodile now comes and holds on to Gajendra's leg. And as we know, a crocodile or an alligator is very, very powerful inside the water. Even though Gajendra is a very powerful elephant, but inside the water, this crocodile is very powerful. No matter how much he tries, Gajendra is not able to come out of the clutches of the crocodile. His wives, they are crying in one corner, oh, our husband is caught. The other male elephants try to pull the crocodile by pulling its tail. Because this crocodile is very strong, they can't do anything much. And because he is inside the water, he is very powerful, so they are also scared to go inside. At that point in time, Gajendra, who was actually King Indradyumna, was a devotee of the Lord, gets a stark revelation that at this point in time, actually nobody can save me. My friends who are strong can't save me. I am very strong myself. I can't save myself. My wives also, they care for me, but they can't save me either. Finally, because of all the prayers that he had offered in his previous lifetime as Indradyumna, he understands that only the Lord can save me. And then he starts offering wonderful prayers to the Lord. So you may read the 8th canto for these prayers, the nice prayers. So throughout the prayer, one interesting point is Gajendra never points to by the name. He never calls somebody by the name. He's only calling Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada at one point very nicely explains this. Generally, when we see Hiranyakashipu is doing meditation, Lord Brahma comes. And sometimes some other demigods come. But in this case, Gajendra is referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas Hiranyakashipu and other people, they are not referring to Supreme Personality of God. They are doing tapasya. So when Gajendra is specifically pointing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no other demigod comes there. Pointing to the fact that Supreme Personality of Godhead is only Lord Vishnu or Krishna. It is not anybody else. Unfortunately, we do not know this fact, and that's the reason we equate everybody to be equals. So in this Gajendra's instance, we clearly understand so much he is pleading, nobody is coming. That is because they all understand, all the demigods understand, these prayers are for a Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are not Supreme Personality of Godheads. So that is the reason when we are offering prayers to demigods, sometimes we happen to go to the temples. There is no restriction that we should not go to any temple, nothing of that sort. But at least we should be very clear. The deity that I am praying to, the personality that I am praying to, is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That should be very, very clear. If this clarity is there, definitely we can go and pray to any of the demigods. But as devotees, we have no material prayers. Oh, please give me that. Please give me this. Please give me a beautiful wife to get married to. Please give me one nice promotion, one nice 30 by 40 site in the hub of Bangalore. We don't have such prayers. And the demigods, even though they are very powerful and exemplary personalities compared to what we are, they are also jivas, just like us. But they are very, very powerful. They are not able to give us what we want. When I say what we want as devotees, the only prayer is to give more and more devotional service to Krishna and to get liberated from the clutches of repeated birth and death. This is not possible for the demigods. To give us liberation, relief from the repeated birth and death is not possible to be given by the demigods. And that's the reason we don't have any prayers to demigods. We only offer them respects. So while hearing this prayers, Sriman Narayana, Lord Vishnu, comes from Vaikunta aboard his Garuda. And when the Lord comes, Gajendra now sees the Lord. He takes a lotus flower from the pond and he starts offering to the Lord, even though he is very much in pain. So very beautifully you can understand when we are referring to Supreme Person of Godhead, it is Lord Narayana, Lord Sri Krishna. Other demigods are not the Supreme Personalities. So after this is done, the elephant Gajendra continues to offer wonderful prayers. Goes on to say, only you who can save us from the dense forest of illusion, only you can save us. At this point in time, the Lord comes down from his chariot, the Garuda, and pulls Gajendra out and the crocodile out, and using his Sudarshana, he cuts the throat, cuts the mouth of the crocodile and separates it from the body. So that way, this Gandharva king gets back to restore to his Gandharva kingdom, and King Gajendra also gets relief from this crocodile. Now towards the end of his prayers, very beautifully, Gajendra starts praying. And in that prayer, very clearly he mentions, I have no further desires, my Lord. You please liberate me from this material world and take me back home. I don't have any further desire to lord over the material nature here, become the king of all these wives and the kingdom. You please take me back. I understand that nobody can save me. So Lord does that, and then further, after delivering Gajendra The Lord also says that anybody who constantly chants this every day will also get liberation. So Gajendra gets something called as Sarupya Mukti. Sarupya is he gets the same features like that of Lord Vishnu, 400 form. Now from this whole pastime, we understand a very important point. Even though Gajendra was the strongest animal in the whole of Trikuta, mountain Trikuta, at that point in time when a simple crocodile caught him, nobody could come to his rescue. Recently I was talking to somebody. The Mataji was referring to her sister or cousin who had gone to a hospital for an operation. So all the tests are done and the doctor has told that tomorrow you are fine now. You are fine to get operated. So tomorrow we shall operate you. All the best class amenities are there. Doctors are there at just one finger, tip. So that night, this Mataji, this lady has spoken to all her sisters and everybody. They made a video call and everybody is talking. At 9 p.m. they have spoken. Tomorrow is supposed to be the operation. She is supposed to come back from the hospital after the operation. And that day, 9:30 p.m., the phone is just dropped. She gets a massive heart attack and she loses her life. Remember, she is in the best of hospitals where the care is just there. We don't have to wait for an ambulance. We don't have to wait for anything. And she's supposed to get an operation which has nothing to do with the heart. But she ends up with a heart attack. So it goes on to show that at that point in time, when the doctors are there, the amenities are there, everybody is just around, nobody can save. Similarly, I remember this was 2017 or 2018. I had just come back to Mangalore. Just like this year, there was a lot of dengue cases in Mangalore back then. So I also had got dengue. The funniest part is, back then when dengue was coming, there was a lot of scare because two people had lost their lives and there was a scare amongst people. So they were saying you should apply coconut oil. This dengue mosquito doesn't come near you. You should cover this completely. And I was following this very perfectly. Every day morning when I come to Mangalarti, I'll put nice coconut oil and everything and then try to evade these mosquitoes. And my other god brothers were not bothered. Because they had got malaria, they had got dengue in the past. So they're like, Jo hona hai, hona hai. So, and they're very comfortably chanting and they don't bother about all these things. And me, after doing all these things, I'm the only person in the whole ashram who got dengue. Nobody else got dengue. So no matter how much you try to protect yourself, nothing is going to work. So then it became a little more. I got a heavy fever and then I was admitted to the hospital. So there they started taking blood every day and they checked the platelets. So the platelet is initially at 3.5 lakhs. The next day it's become 3.25. Slowly it has come back to 2.5. And then it's 2. Then it's 1.5. And then it is 1. So I could sense this doctor who was coming, a very nice man. First 3-4 days he was all comfortable, talking to me nicely and all those things. On the 5th day I see he is a little concerned actually. So he is trying his level best not to express that concern, but somehow I could make it. This person is not very happy with what is happening here. So then comes the 6th day, it has come to 75,000. And he is holding my platelets at 11 o'clock in the morning, platelet count and all those things. And then by mistake he tells this nurse, why is this not increasing? It is the 6th day today. And then he understands he made a mistake. He should not do this thing. And don't worry, gentlemen, you'll be fine. Now 2 more days we'll get discharged from here and go. So I got a hold of this. Okay, I may not get discharged also. I may get discharged only from here, material world itself. So that evening, mother comes and then devotees have come and all those things. That's when I had searched something to do with platelets and all those things. So then they said we'll take blood once again. And then the next day, I remember, yes, it's next day, it had come to 45,000. From 75,000, it come to 45,000. That's when I started to use Google Baba. What is this platelet? What does it do to my body? That's when I realized this platelets, their primary function is whenever there is any wound and open blood vessels, they all come near that place and act like a plug to stop the bleeding. So when this comes down to 10,000 or so, from the pores itself, blood starts oozing out. Because the blood vessels cannot no longer take that pressure of the blood, it slowly starts oozing out from there. At 5,000, your every uh, organ slowly starts failing. So 3.25 to 2.5 to 1.25 to 75 to 45. I am almost there. Next day, definitely it is going to come to 25 or 20, and the other day it is going to come, and I am almost seeing, okay, it is going to come, and I am seeing around. My mother is a little concerned now. My father also understands, okay, he's not recovering so fast. So I see that concern now. And slowly that fear is getting into, okay, this could be that moment that I have, because until then it doesn't. We see death happening here, death happening there. Oh, my grandmother is not with me, she went to the hospital. We never put ourselves into that situation that tomorrow is my last. We never think like that. We always think, oh, there is a lot of time to go. That's what, among the Yaksha Prashnas, among the 100 questions, one of the question was this. Yaksha asks Yudhishthira, what do you think is the most interesting thing? So Yudhishthira Maharaj replies, most interesting thing is ahani hani gachanti loka yamalayam. Every day I see that people are entering the Yamalayam, Yamamandiram, the kingdom of Yama. But I think that every person thinks I am not going to enter that kingdom of Yama. Everybody will go, but I will not go. So that was very striking, that and I can realize, okay, never dawned upon me that I also have to go. I thought there's a long time to go. It could be this moment. But I have not prepared for this moment at all. Okay, even though I've been full-time missionary, chanting and all those things, but that point in time, somewhere I feel a lot of work is unfinished. I could do a lot of things. I could have chanted better. I thought there's a lot of time. I will improve it slowly. It was part of my plan. 6-7 months down the line, slowly I'll improve my japa. There is a lot of time. I'll read Bhagavatam aram se. Next 3 years I will divide Bhagavatam nicely and read the Bhagavatam nicely, page to page. And that evening, I'm thinking, I remember that night, actually I have not done enough. I have not chanted enough. I have not read the Srimad Bhagavatam enough. I have not yet realized fully that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. There is a small tinge of fear. One side it says Lord is going to take care and all those things. Another side, there is this small fear. What if the Lord feels that I have not done enough? What if I have to come back once again to this material world? So that stark revelation, that's when you feel you're really helpless. Nobody can do anything. That's when there is a big regret. Everything was there for me to do. I did not do it. That is the same regret Gajendra is having there. Oh, I was thinking there. I am there, my strength is there. But now, my dear Lord, I understand nobody is there except for you who can save me. Nobody can save me. This realization can come only when we are in the association of devotees. Because every other person whom you speak to, even when we go, they speak about so many different things. There is a good government now. The government is going to come up with various policies where they're going to help us more and all these things. It's been 10 years. And of course, a lot of work is being done, but then what was expected is not happening. And then somebody had shared a video recently when another politician is talking about the 2 prime politicians of the country. They're saying, oh, this person is going to the Pahadis. This person is going to take sannyasa. Ab tumhe kaun bachayega? Actually, we are thinking somebody is going to save me. This government is going to save me. They're going to come up with schemes where I'm going to be safe and all these things. But this question should be there. Ab tumhe kaun bachayega? Nobody can save. No scheme can save. No mutual fund can save. No big insurance can save. I remember one video where there is a a heart specialist. She is in her own operation theatre. She owns the hospital or something of that sort. She is the head of the department of, um, cardiology or something. And then she's standing there at the podium where she is seeing the files, and she collapses with a heart attack. That same place she had saved so many people from a heart disease, hundreds and thousands people, and she, at her own operation theatre, she herself is losing her life for the same disease for which she has saved so many people. You can't do anything. So the sooner we get this realization that I can't save myself, nor can anybody save myself, the safer we are, because we will start acting in that direction. And this can happen only in the association of devotees, because everybody else is talking about which mutual fund is good, which insurance is better, what you should do to protect your house. All of this is being told, but nobody has still come up to the point of understanding that actually all of this cannot save me. The point comes, I have to go. So that is the reason. Another important reason to be in the association of Vaishnavas is that constantly they will talk about this aspect of the material world called as Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. Seemingly, it may seem pessimistic to always talk about this one point, but that is the reality. Unless we understand this point, unless this point is driven very strongly, we will still have some hope that this will save me or that will save me. But in the association of Vaishnavas and devotees, we clearly understand, okay, nothing can save me except for the Lord. And I will start taking charge of my life in ensuring that I should do what I should do as part of the human life. The mission of human life is very clear: to come out of the cycle of birth and death, not to accumulate things like Gajendra. So Gajendra has realized, okay, I cannot save myself. When will I come to the realization that nothing of this, or for that matter, all that I have, or even my own strength cannot save me? So we have to pray to Srila Prabhupada and to Krishna to keep us in that association which always keeps us in this particular reality of life, that only the Lord can save me. We all have this, we all know this, but still illusion always comes upon us and then we forget. So that's when the purport, if you see the last line, Prabhupada says, even an animal can save itself by approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but even a demigod cannot save himself unless he goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Demigods who are so powerful also come upon this illusion saying that, okay, I have my strengths and I have my these things. It is very much possible for them also to forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like our Lord Brahma forgets, Indra forgets. So unless we reach out to the Supreme Person of Godhead, nobody can protect us or save us. So this is the whole understanding of today's shloka. And this reality can only come upon as we hear more and more. Two aspects are there. One thing is, something should happen in our lives, where you come to a point when you realize that, okay, this is the last. From there you take a U-turn. I remember another devotee was almost bedridden. So I asked him, Prabhu, when did you become serious? Very serious devotees, initiated congregation devotee. So he mentioned, Prabhu, 3 years back I was bedridden. I was not even able to move my body. That's when I realized it is all over. So I requested for the Lord, if you give me one more chance, I will ensure that I am going to do my life perfect by doing nice sadhana. And the Lord rescued him from the position, and then he said, I am getting a second life. So I am going to ensure that every single time here, whichever yatra is going to Vrindavan, I am going to go. I am not going to miss my Mangalarati anymore. I am not going to miss my sadhana anymore, because I have got a second life. Either that aspect, or being in the position of Vaishnavas, who constantly keep driving this point. So we should always seek for that association of devotees, which is going to bring us to this point of protection from the Supreme Lord, which is going to bring us to this point of understanding that only the Lord can protect me. Any other discussion which is not driving this point is only going to bring more and more illusion into ourselves, saying that there is a lot of time. There is no time. Today could be the last. A very few minutes from me could be the last. We may or may not get to have the khichdi which is there. It's there. We are here. So always this thought can help us improve and strengthen our sadhana. That today could be my last. This japa of mine could be my last. This harinam could be my last. So if we are chanting with that josh, that this could be my last, then that chanting is going to help us, because that will be with full bhav and with right consciousness. So let's chant that one Hare Krishna Mahamantra with full consciousness and wind up after that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So let's continue to chant this, thinking this is the last. One fine day it will be true. Let's start. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की.